Good evening, weary traveller of the night. Picture this. Your boots sink into mud, the air thick with gasoline's acrid sting, and a 70-pound flamethrower clings to your back like a curse whispering of fire. You are no hero, no legend carved in stone, but a soul caught in the grim machinery of World War II, destined to wield a weapon as deadly to you as to the enemy. Before the flames draw near, please share where you are watching from and what hour keeps you awake, connecting us in this quiet corner of the world. If these tales soothe your restless mind, consider liking or subscribing to keep them alive. Your support means everything. So dim the lights, turn on a fan, and lie back as we drift into the smoky, brutal world of a flamethrower operator, where every spark tells a story of survival and loss. The letter arrives on a Tuesday, its crisp edges slicing through the ordinary hum of your life. You're halfway through stacking crates at the warehouse, or maybe you're doodling in the margins of an algebra notebook you'll never finish, when it lands in your hands, a government envelope, heavy with ink and inevitability. There's no fanfare, no choice, just a cold summons to a war you didn't start. You're 19, maybe 20, with a pulse that ticks like a metronome in the wrong year. The draft board doesn't care about your dreams of fixing cars or marrying the girl down the street. They need bodies, and yours happens to be breathing. So, you're plucked from the rhythm of small-town days, where the worst worry was a late shift or a failed exam, and thrust into the grinding gears of World War II, a machine that chews up names and spits out numbers. You stand in a warehouse-turned-recruitment center, the air thick with the stench of sweat and industrial soap. Men in uniforms bark orders, their voices echoing off concrete walls. You're herded forward, a reluctant sheep among a flock of strangers, each face as bewildered as your own. A clerk with a clipboard squints at you, scribbles something, and mispronounces your name before forgetting it entirely. He jots down John Doe with a smirk, as if your identity is a formality soon to be erased by a battlefield's indifference. Doesn't matter, he mutters. You'll be target soon enough. The words linger, a bitter seed planted in your gut, but you're too dazed to protest. A medic pokes your ribs, checks your eyes, and declares you fit, not because you're strong, but because you're upright. Another man measures your chest, gets the number wrong, and moves on. Efficiency here is a conveyor belt, processing lives like canned goods. They don't ask why you're here or what you're good at. Instead, they notice your height, average, unremarkable, and decide it's perfect for a flamethrower. Maybe it's because you once fixed a leaky pipe in your father's garage, or maybe it's just the luck of a coin toss gone wrong. Either way, you're handed a paper that says Flamethrower Unit, and a sergeant claps your shoulder, his grin more grim than encouraging. "You'll be a game changer, kid," he says, and you nod, because what else can you do? The word flamethrower sounds powerful, almost mythic, like you'll wield fire like a god. But the truth, you'll learn, is less divine. A heavy, hissing beast strapped to your back, eager to betray you. For now, though, you cling to the lie, because believing it feels safer than questioning. The train to training camp rattles through the night, packed with boys like you, their faces pale under the dim glow of a single bulb. The air smells of mildew and damp wool. The seats creak with every jolt, and no one speaks. You stare out the window, watching fields blur into shadows, wondering if you'll ever see home again. Home feels like a story someone else told you, already fading. Your hands grip the edge of the seat, knuckles white, as if holding on could anchor you to the life you're leaving. The boy next to you coughs, a nervous tick, and you catch his eye for a moment. Shared fear, unspoken. You're all headed to the same place, a camp where they'll try to mold you into soldiers. But really, they're just teaching you to survive long enough to die usefully. At the camp, the shouting begins before dawn. Sergeants bellow orders, not to teach, but to drown out your thoughts. You're given a uniform that doesn't fit, boots that pinch, and a helmet that smells like someone else's sweat. The Flamethrower unit is a special kind of hell, they tell you, reserved for those destined to lead the charge. You don't feel special, just small, a speck caught in the war's vast machinery. They show you the M1 Flamethrower, a 70-pound monster of steel and napalm, its hoses coiling like snakes. It's heavier than you expected, the straps digging into your shoulders like teeth. You try to stand straight, to look like you belong, but the weight pulls you down, a constant reminder of what's coming. The sergeant demonstrates, igniting a burst of flame that roars across a field, and you flinch, not at the fire, but at the realization that this is your future. Training is less about skill and more about endurance. You learn to strap on the flamethrower, to feel its bulk settle against your spine like a parasite. The instructors don't teach you how to dodge bullets or outsmart the enemy, just how to point the nozzle and squeeze the trigger. Aim steady, one barks, as if steadiness is possible when your hands shake from the weight. The air is thick with gasoline fumes, stinging your eyes, coating your throat. You cough, and a veteran laughs, saying, "Get used to it, kid. It's your new perfume." You try to laugh back, but it comes out hollow, a sound swallowed by the camp's noise. The flamethrower hisses when you test it, a low, mocking sound, as if it knows something you don't. You're not a soldier yet, just a boy learning to carry death, and it's heavier than you ever imagined. The other recruits are a mix of bravado and fear, some joking to mask their nerves, others silent, already haunted. You see one drop his tank, the clang echoing like a gunshot, and the instructor screams until the boy's ears turn red. Mistakes here aren't forgiven, they're warnings. You memorize the parts, the fuel tank, the igniter, the nozzle, each piece a potential traitor. The equipment is old, patched together from previous wars, the hoses cracked, the valves sticky. You're told it's reliable, but the way the sergeant avoids looking at it tells another story. You practice in a field pockmarked with burn scars, the ground blackened from countless tests. Each time you ignite, the heat slaps your face, a reminder of what you're carrying. You're not fighting for glory or country, just for the chance to see another dawn, though even that feels like a long shot. The days blur into a haze of shouts, sweat, and the ever-present smell of fuel. You learn to move with the flamethrower, to balance its weight, but never to trust it. Every step is a negotiation, every breath a gamble. You're told you're part of something bigger, a war to end all wars, but it feels like you're just fuel for the machine. The instructors don't talk about survival rates or what happens when a bullet finds your tank. They don't need to. The silence says enough. You're shipped out before you're ready, packed into a truck with other recruits, their faces ashen under the weight of their fears. The road ahead is unknown, the war a vast, hungry thing waiting to swallow you whole. You live for now, because now is all you have, and even that feels borrowed. Looking back, you wonder how you ended up here. A kid from nowhere carrying a weapon that burns hotter than the sun. Today, we marvel at the resilience of those who face such fates, their lives a testament to courage born of necessity. But in 1943, you're just a name on a roster, a number on a form, a body bound for fire. The war doesn't care about your story, but you carry it anyway, etched in the sweat on your brow, the ache in your shoulders, the quiet dread that grows with every mile. You're not a hero, not yet, maybe never. You're just alive for now, and that's enough to keep moving, one heavy step at a time, into the inferno that awaits. The training camp sprawls before you, a patchwork of mud and misery under a grey sky that seems to press down like a lid. You're barely off the train, legs stiff from hours in a rattling carriage, when the shouting begins. Sergeants bark orders, their voices sharp as bayonets, slicing through the fog of your exhaustion. You're handed a flamethrower, the M1, a beast of steel and napalm that weighs 70 pounds and feels like it's already claiming you. Its straps bite into your shoulders, the fuel tank sloshing with a low, ominous gurgle, as if it's whispering secrets of fire and ruin. You're not a soldier yet, just a boy with a pulse, tasked with wielding a weapon that could burn you as easily as the enemy. The air reeks of gasoline and damp earth, a perfume of dread that clings to your skin and seeps into your thoughts. They don't teach you to fight, not really. The instructors, grizzled men with eyes like spent shells, show you the basics. Strap on the tank, connect the hose, ignite the flame, point the nozzle, squeeze the trigger, and pray the thing doesn't jam. That's the extent of it. No tactics for dodging bullets, no strategies for outwitting an enemy who'll see you coming from a mile away. Instead, they offer a grim joke. If you catch fire, roll. As if rolling could douse napalm's hungry flames, as if you could outrun the inferno strapped to your back. You try to laugh, but it catches in your throat, a dry, hollow sound. The sergeant grins, his teeth yellowed by tobacco, and says, "Don't worry, kid. If you burn, you'll be famous for 3 seconds." The words hang in the air, a cruel prophecy you can't shake. You practice in a field scarred by past trainees, the ground blackened and pitted like the surface of some forsaken moon. The flamethrower roars when you ignite it, a dragon's breath that lights up the morning and singes your eyebrows. The heat slaps your face, a warning of what's to come, and the recoil jars your arms, already trembling from the tank's weight. The hose is stiff, the valves sticky, relics from a war that's already chewing through men and machines. You fumble with the igniter, your fingers clumsy under the sergeant's glare. Another recruit misfires, sending a gout of flame too close to a wooden post, and the instructor screams until the boy's ears turn red. Mistakes here aren't lessons, they're omens. You learn fast that hesitation is a luxury you can't afford, not when every second with this weapon feels like a gamble with your own life. The camp is a cacophony of noise and fear. Engines growl, boots slog through mud, and the flamethrowers hiss like vipers, each sound a reminder of the chaos you're being shaped for. You memorize the parts, fuel tank, pressure valve, ignition coil, but it's like learning the anatomy of a monster. The M1 is unreliable, patched together from older wars, its hoses cracked, its seals prone to leaking. You're told it's a marvel, a game changer, but the way the instructors avoid touching it speaks louder than their words. You practice strapping it on, the weight pulling your shoulders down, the straps carving welts into your skin. Each time you fire, the flame leaps out, wild and untamed, and you feel the heat crawl up your arms, a taste of the hell you'll carry into battle. Your hands shake, not from cold, but from the dawning truth. This thing could kill you before the enemy does. The other recruits are a mirror of your fear. Some crack jokes, their voices too loud, as if laughter could drown out the dread. Others are silent, their eyes fixed on the horizon, already seeing something you can't yet name. You catch one boy staring at his flamethrower, his fingers tracing the tank's curve like he's trying to understand its intentions. He drops it once, the clang echoing like a gunshot, and the sergeant's bellow sends him scrambling. You don't make the same mistake, but you feel the weight of it all the same. The air is heavy with gasoline fumes, stinging your eyes, coating your throat, until every breath tastes like fire waiting to happen. You cough, and a veteran chuckles, his voice rough as gravel. That's your new lungs, kid. Get used to it. You try to smile, but it feels like a grimace, a mask you wear to keep moving. Days bleed into each other, a haze of drills and exhaustion. You learn to walk with the flamethrower, to balance its bulk, but never to trust it. The instructors shout about precision, about control, but their words feel hollow when you're holding a weapon that burns everything in its path, including you. You fire again and again, the flames painting the field in shades of orange and black. Each burst is a lesson in power and peril, the heat a constant reminder of your fragility. You're told you're part of a grand machine, a war to save the world, but it feels like you're just kindling, waiting for a spark. The sergeants don't talk about survival rates or what happens when a bullet finds your tank. They don't need to. Their silence is a lecture in itself, a warning etched in the lines of their faces. You're not ready when training ends, but readiness isn't the point. The war doesn't wait for competence, only bodies. You're packed into a truck, the flamethrower strapped to your back like a sentence you can't appeal. The other recruits sit shoulder to shoulder, their faces pale under helmets too big for their heads. The truck rattles over rutted roads, each jolt a reminder of the weight you carry. You stare at your hands, already calloused from gripping the nozzle, and wonder how they'll fare when the real fire comes. The boy beside you hums a tune, then stops as if the melody betrayed him. You don't speak, but your eyes meet for a moment, a shared understanding that neither of you will voice. The road stretches ahead, leading to a battlefield where flames will write your story, whether you want them to or not. Reflecting now, in the quiet of our modern nights, we marvel at the resilience of those who face such trials, their courage forged in the crucible of necessity. But in 1943, you're just a figure in a uniform, a number on a roster, a boy carrying a flamethrower that feels more like a noose than a weapon. The war doesn't care about your fears or your dreams. It demands your steps, your breath, your fire. You live for now, because now is all you have, a fragile thread stretched taut between the past you left and the inferno ahead. The camp fades behind you, its shouts and flames a prelude to the chaos waiting. You're not a hero, not a legend, just a soul bound for fire, moving forward because turning back was never an option. The flamethrower clings to you like a shadow cast in iron, its 70-pound bulk a constant reminder of the fire you're destined to wield. You're no longer just a man, but a vessel for napalm, the M1 flamethrower's steel tank strapped to your back like a parasite that hums with latent violence. Its hoses coil around you, stiff and unyielding, grazing your arms with every move, as if testing your resolve. The air in the training camp is heavy with the stench of gasoline, a sour tang that seeps into your pores and lingers like a bad omen. You're learning to live with this beast, to carry it through mud and dust, but it feels less like a weapon and more like a sentence. Every step you take, the tank sloshes, a liquid heartbeat that echoes your own, each pulse a whisper of the inferno waiting to be unleashed. You practice in a field pocked with scorch marks, the earth charred into silence by those who came before you. The instructors watch, their faces carved from stone, as you hoist the flamethrower and aim at a straw dummy across the way. The igniter clicks, a small defiant sound, and then the flame roars out, a dragon's tongue that paints the world in shades of orange and black. The heat bites your face, a sharp rebuke for daring to command it, and your hands tremble on the nozzle, slick with sweat. You're told to keep it steady, but steadiness is a myth when you're bound to a bomb. The tank's weight pulls at your spine, carving grooves into your shoulders, and you wonder if the pain is the point, a lesson in endurance for a war that offers no mercy. The other recruits keep their distance, their eyes flickering with something between pity and fear. You're not one of them, not really, not when you carry fire that could swallow them whole. They huddle in their tents at night, swapping stories of home or crude jokes, but you're left alone with the flamethrower, its cold metal pressed against your side like a jealous lover. You try to sleep, curled on the ground, the tank's bulk a cruel pillow that smells of oil and rust. A faint drip from the hose keeps you awake, each drop a reminder of the napalm waiting to betray you. One night, a recruit glances at your tank and mutters, "Write your will on that thing, it'll outlast the fire." His laugh is thin, but it cuts, a blade of truth wrapped in jest. You don't respond, but the words burrow deep, a quiet dread that grows with every dawn. You're learning the flamethrower's quirks, its moods. The valves stick, the igniter sputters, and the hoses are stiff as old bones. The M1 is a relic, patched together from wars past. It seems worn and unreliable. You're told it's a marvel of engineering, but the way it groans under pressure tells a different story. You practice firing again, the flame leaping out with a hiss that drowns out the world. The heat is a living thing, curling around you, singeing your knuckles, leaving faint burns that sting when you move. You adjust the straps, trying to ease the weight, but it's like bargaining with gravity, pointless and punishing. The instructors shout about control, about precision, but their words fade against the roar of the flame, a sound that feels like it's rewriting your future. The camp is a world of noise and grit, where every day is a lesson in survival. You march with the flamethrower, its bulk throwing you off balance, your boots sinking into mud that smells of decay. The other recruits drill with rifles, their movements sharp and practiced, but you're different, marked by the tank on your back. You're the one who'll lead the charge, they say, the one who'll clear the way with fire. But leading means being seen, and being seen means being shot at. You feel it in the glances of your squad, the way they step back when you pass, as if your presence alone could ignite them. You don't blame them. Every clank of the tank, every whiff of fuel, reminds you of the danger you carry, not just for the enemy, but for everyone around you. You try to find routine in the chaos, a rhythm to keep the fear at bay. You check the tank seals, tighten the straps, wipe down the nozzle. Each task a small rebellion against the inevitability of what's coming. But the flamethrower is a cruel master, its weight a constant ache, its hiss a mocking lullaby. You eat rations that taste of tin and ash, the fuel stench coating every bite. You sleep in snatches, waking to the sound of your breath, sharp and uneven, as if the tank is stealing your air even in dreams. The nights are cold, but the flamethrower's presence is colder, a reminder that you're bound to something that doesn't care if you live or die. You live for now, a mantra whispered in the dark, because now is all you can hold on to. The war feels distant, a story told in shouted orders and faded maps, but the flamethrower makes it real. You're not fighting for ideals or glory, but for the next breath, the next step, the next moment when the tank doesn't betray you. You think of home, of clean air and quiet nights, but those memories are fading, burned away by the heat of the present. The other recruits talk of letters, of loved ones waiting, but you don't join in. Words feel heavy, pointless, when you're carrying fire that could erase you in a heartbeat. You're not a hero, not a soldier, just a man tethered to a bomb, learning to walk with its weight, knowing it might be the last thing you ever carry. Looking back, we stand in awe of those who bore such burdens, their resilience a testament to the human spirit's stubborn will to endure. In 1943, you're just a figure in a uniform, your name already half forgotten, your life measured in the slosh of napalm and the flicker of a flame. The war doesn't see you as a person, only a tool, but you carry on because stopping isn't an option. The flamethrower is your companion, your curse, your destiny, and with every step, you feel it pulling you closer to the fire. You live for now, because now is all you have. A fragile spark in a world ready to ignite. The camp's noise fades, but the tank's hiss follows you, a promise of the inferno that lies ahead. The flamethrower is no longer just a tool. It's your skin, your shadow, a 70-pound spectre that haunts every step through the muddy sprawl of the forward camp. Its steel tank presses against your spine, a cold, unyielding weight that seems to breathe with you, its hoses curling like veins pulsing with napalm's promise. The air is thick with the reek of scorched rubber and oil, a miasma that coats your lungs and lingers like a ghost. You move through the camp, the M1 flamethrowers clank, announcing you before you speak, marking you as the one who carries fire, the one who invites death. Every glance from a fellow soldier carries a flicker of unease, as if your presence alone could ignite the world around you. You're not just a man anymore. You're a walking torch, a beacon for bullets, a spark waiting to consume itself. Your days are a ritual of dread, each task tethered to the machine on your back. You wake to the damp chill of dawn, your uniform stiff with the residue of fuel and grime, the fabric clinging like a second, resentful skin. The tank never leaves you. Even when you eat, it rests beside you, its bulk a silent threat. Rations are a grim affair. Hardtack and tinned meat, chewed slowly under the weight of the flamethrower's shadow, the taste soured by the ever-present tang of petroleum. You try to wipe your hands clean, but the oil seeps into your pores, a stain no amount of scrubbing can erase. A corporal watches you struggle with a rag and smirks. Keep polishing, kid. It'll shine when it blows. His words are a knife, sharp with truth, but you force a nod, because acknowledging the fear feels like inviting it closer. Sleep is a fleeting, feverish thing, stolen in snatches on a bedroll pressed against the tank's cold steel. The camp is never quiet. Boots crunch, engines rumble, and somewhere a distant artillery thud reminds you of the war's hunger. You curl up in a ditch, the flamethrower's hoses tangling around your legs, their faint drip a lullaby you can't ignore. Dreams, when they come, are jagged, filled with visions of sparks and screams, the air thick with the smell of burning. You wake gasping, your heart racing as if the flames were already licking your skin. The night is a mirror of your days, each moment a negotiation with the machine that defines you. You check the valves before you sleep, your fingers tracing the seams for leaks, knowing one drop could turn your rest into a pyre. Your squad keeps you at arm's length, their camaraderie a wall you can't breach. They share cigarettes and stories of home, but you're outside their circle, marked by the flamethrower's curse. They don't say it, but you see it in their eyes. You're the one who'll draw fire, the one who could turn their foxhole into an inferno. You try to join their laughter, but the tank's weight pulls you back, a reminder that you're different. One night, A private offers you a sip of his canteen, then hesitates, as if the act might taint him. You take it anyway, the water tasting of metal and regret. Their fear is understandable. One stray bullet, and you're a fireball that could claim them all. You don't resent them, but the isolation cuts deeper than the straps on your shoulders. The routine is relentless, a cycle of maintenance and survival. You inspect the flamethrower daily, tightening bolts, checking the igniter, wiping down the nozzle with a rag that's more oil than cloth. Each task is a prayer, a plea for the machine to hold together just one more day. The M1 is a fickle beast, its seals worn from years of use, its hoses prone to splitting under pressure. You're told it's a weapon of the future, but it feels like a relic, patched together with tape and desperation. The camp's mechanics offer no comfort. They glance at your tank and shake their heads, as if it's already a lost cause. You learn to live with the drips, the hisses, the constant threat of a spark. Every move is deliberate, every breath measured, because carelessness is a luxury you can't afford. The world beyond the camp feels like a myth, a place of clean air and open spaces that no longer exist for you. You catch glimpses of it sometimes, a bird darting through the sky, a patch of grass untouched by war. But it feels wrong, like a painting you're not meant to touch. Your reality is the flamethrower, its weight a constant companion, its smell a second skin. You stop writing letters home, because what could you say? That you're alive for now? That you carry fire that could burn you away? The words feel hollow, so you let them go, like smoke rising from a spent match. Your squad moves around you, their voices a distant hum, and you wonder if you're already fading, a ghost bound to a machine that's more alive than you are. The war is a machine, and you're its fuel, a spark waiting to ignite. You think of the men who came before you, their names lost to the flames, their stories reduced to ash. Yet you carry on, because stopping means surrendering to the fear, and fear is a fire you can't outrun. You live for now, a mantra etched in the rhythm of your steps, the clank of the tank, the hiss of the hose. The flamethrower is your destiny, a cruel partner that demands everything, your strength, your sleep, your sanity. You're not fighting for glory or ideals, but for the next moment, the next breath, the chance to see another dawn, even if it's shrouded in smoke. Looking back, we stand in quiet awe of those who bore such burdens, their lives a testament to a resilience forged in the crucible of war. In 1943, you're just a figure in a fuel-soaked uniform, a man whose name is already slipping through the cracks of history. The flamethrower defines you, its weight a chain, its fire a promise of ruin. Yet, you move forward, because the alternative is to stand still, and standing still means burning. You carry the flame knowing it could consume you, but you carry it anyway, a walking torch in a world that's already alight. The war waits, its jaws open, and you step toward it, one heavy, inevitable step at a time. Dawn breaks over the camp, a grey smear across a sky that feels too heavy to lift. You stand in the muck, the M1 flamethrower strapped to your back like a stone tablet carved with your fate. Its 70-pound weight tugs at your shoulders, the hoses coiling around you like a noose woven from steel and dread. The air is sharp with the scent of wet earth and petroleum, a bitter cocktail that burns your throat with every breath. Your moments from your first real fight, and the camp buzzes with a tension that hums beneath the surface, like a wire stretched to snapping. Your hands, calloused and stained, trace the flamethrower's valves one last time, checking for leaks, for betrayal. The metal is cold, unyielding, but it feels alive, as if it knows the chaos it's about to unleash. You're not ready, but readiness is a luxury the war doesn't offer. Orders come in a clipped, hurried scrawl, delivered by a courier whose face is already half forgotten. The words are vague. A ridge to secure, a bunker to clear, coordinates that might as well be runes for all the sense they make. You're to lead the charge, they say. The flamethrower's fire meant to carve a path through the enemy's defenses. The thought settles in your gut like a stone, heavy and cold. You're the spearhead, the first to move, the first to be seen. Your squad gathers, their faces shadowed under helmets, their eyes avoiding yours. They know what you carry, what it means. The silence between you is thicker than the mud, a shared understanding that you're the one who'll draw the enemy's gaze, the one who'll burn first. The captain claps your shoulder, his voice low. You'll light the way, or make a hell of a show. His grin is a blade, and you nod, because what else is there to do? You move out, the flamethrower's bulk shifting with every step, its sloshing fuel a rhythm that matches your pulse. The terrain is unforgiving, a churned mess of craters and roots, each footfall sinking into earth that seems to pull you down. The air grows heavier, laced with the distant tang of gunpowder, a prelude to the storm ahead. You check the igniter, the click sharp in the morning's quiet, and the hose feels stiff, reluctant, as if it knows what's coming. Your squad trails behind, their boots crunching softly, their rifles held low. Their shadows in your peripheral vision, keeping their distance, as if the flamethrower's curse might spread. You don't blame them. Every step you take feels like a dare, a challenge to the war to notice you. The weight of their silence presses harder than the tank on your back. The march is a slow descent, each mile stripping away the last scraps of the world you once knew. You pass a shattered farmhouse, its walls pocked with bullet holes, its roof collapsed like a broken promise. A single flower clings to life in the rubble, its petals a defiant splash of color, and you look away because beauty feels like a lie. Your thoughts drift to simpler days, mornings spent fishing by a quiet stream, evenings laughing over a warm meal, but they dissolve in the flamethrower's hiss, a sound that anchors you to the present. You tighten the straps, the leather cutting into your shoulders, and check the nozzle again, your fingers trembling not from cold, but from the truth you can't escape. You're a walking target, a spark waiting for a trigger. The closer you get to the front, the louder the world becomes. Distant artillery rumbles, a low growl that vibrates through your boots. The air shifts, carrying the faint crack of rifles, the scream of shells slicing the sky. Your squad tightens, their movements sharper, their breaths uneven. You feel their eyes on you, not accusing, but wary, as if you're a bomb they can't defuse. You adjust the flamethrower, its weight a constant ache, and test the igniter one last time. The flame sparks briefly, a flicker of orange that dances in the gloom, and you extinguish it quickly, heart pounding. The act feels like a rehearsal for your end, a moment when fire will write your story in ash. You push the thought down, but it lingers, a shadow cast by the tank on your back. The ridge comes into view, a jagged scar against the horizon, its slopes bristling with the promise of danger. You're told the enemy is entrenched there, hidden in bunkers that spit death at anyone who approaches. Your job is to burn them out, to turn their defenses to cinders. The orders are simple, but the weight of them is crushing. You're the first to move, the flamethrower marking you as the war's chosen sacrifice. Your squad follows, but they hang back, their steps cautious, their rifles ready for what comes after you. The captain's voice crackles through the radio, a garbled command to advance, and you step forward, the mud sucking at your boots, the tank slosh a metronome counting down your time. Every step is a negotiation with fear. The flamethrower's hoses snag on branches, the tank's weight throws you off balance, and the air grows thick with the promise of violence. You think of the men who've stood where you stand, their names lost to the flames, their stories reduced to smoke. Yet you move, because stopping is surrender, and surrender is a fire you can't outrun. The war doesn't care about your trembling hands or the sweat stinging your eyes. It demands your flame, your breath, your life. You live for now, a fragile vow whispered against the roar of the approaching battle, because now is all you have. The ridge looms closer, its shadows swallowing the light, and you brace yourself, knowing the fire you carry will either save you or consume you. Looking back, we stand in quiet reverence for those who face such trials, their courage a beacon in the darkness of war. Their lives, brief and brutal, remind us of the cost of survival, the strength it took to carry fire into the unknown. In 1943, you're just a silhouette against the dawn, a man bound to a flamethrower, your name already fading in the war's vast ledger. The tank on your back is a chain. It's a destiny you can't escape. Yet you walk forward, because the alternative is to stand still, and standing still means burning. The war waits, its hunger endless, and you step into its jaws, one heavy, inevitable step at a time, a torchbearer in a world already aflame. The ridge looms ahead, a jagged wound in the earth, its slopes cloaked in a haze of dawn and dread. You stand at the edge of the battlefield, the M1 flamethrower's weight a cruel anchor on your shoulders, its 70-pound bulk trembling with the slosh of napalm. The air is alive with the distant crack of rifles and the low growl of artillery, a symphony of chaos that drowns out the morning's quiet. Your squad lingers behind, their silhouettes blurred in the mist, their silence louder than the shells. You're the spearhead, the one to lead with fire, and the realization settles like ash in your lungs. You're the first to burn, the first to be seen. The flamethrower's hoses coil around you, heavy as chains, and the igniter's click feels like a heartbeat, urgent and unforgiving. You step forward, boots sinking into mud, knowing the war is about to claim you. The order comes through a crackling radio, a voice sharp with urgency. Clear the bunker. You move, the tank's weight throwing you off balance, each step a defiance of the fear clawing at your chest. The battlefield erupts around you. Gunfire stitches the air, smoke curls like a living thing, and the ground trembles with the impact of shells. You reach the bunker's edge, a concrete moor bristling with menace, and your fingers tighten on the nozzle. The igniter sparks, and the flamethrower roars to life, a torrent of flame that splits the dawn in two. The heat surges, a beast that bites your face, singeing your skin with its ferocity. The bunker glows, its slits swallowing fire, and you hear screams, sharp, then silenced, as the napalm consumes everything within. You're a god of destruction, but the power is a lie, a fleeting illusion that marks you as the enemy's prey. Bullets find you almost immediately. They whistle past, too close, each one a promise of the end. You're a beacon in the chaos, the flamethrowers blaze painting you against the smoke, a target no one can miss. Your squad scatters, their rifles barking from behind, but they're shadows, distant and safe, while you stand exposed. You fire again, the flame arcing across the field, its roar drowning out the world. The heat is unbearable, reflecting off the bunker's walls, searing your hands through the gloves. Your heart pounds, a drumbeat against the flamethrower's slosh, and you move forward, driven by instinct, not courage. A machine gun chatters, its rhythm a cruel counterpoint to your steps, and you duck, the tank's weight pulling you down, a reminder that you're tethered to death itself. The bunker is silent now, its occupants gone, reduced to ash by your hand. You pause, gasping, the air thick with the stench of charred earth and something darker, something human. The flamethrower's nozzle drips, a slow, deliberate leak that stains the ground, and you wipe it with a trembling hand, as if that could erase what you've done. Your squad emerges, their faces pale, their eyes avoiding the bunker's blackened mouth. One private glances at you, then away, and mutters, "Well, you sure warmed the place up." His voice is thin, a jest born of unease, but it cuts, a reminder that your fire is both weapon and curse. You don't respond because words feel useless when your hands still shake with the weight of lives extinguished. Lives you'll never know. The battle doesn't stop for your thoughts. Another bunker looms, its shadow darker, its threat sharper. You move again, the flamethrower's hoses snagging on debris. The tank's bulk a constant ache. The enemy shifts, their fire more precise, as if they've learned your name. A bullet grazes your helmet, the impact a dull thud that rings in your skull, and you stumble, catching yourself against a shattered tree. The flame roars once more, a desperate act to keep the enemy at bay. But it feels futile, like shouting into a storm. The heat wraps around you, a suffocating embrace, and you wonder if this is what it means to be alive, to burn, to be seen, to be hunted. You live for now, a vow whispered against the chaos, because now is all you can claim. Your squad presses forward, their movements mechanical, their voices lost in the din. You're alone in the fire's glow, a solitary figure against a canvas of smoke and ruin. The flamethrower's weight is heavier now, not just from its steel, but from the lives it's taken, the lives it might yet claim. You reload the igniter, your fingers slick with sweat, and the click feels like a judgment, a moment that decides whether you'll see another sunrise. The battlefield is a blur of motion. Flashes of muzzle fire, geysers of dirt, the distant scream of a man who isn't you, not yet. You fire again, the flame of fleeting defiance, but the enemy's eyes are on you, their aim sharpening with every burst. You're not a soldier, not a hero, just a man carrying fire, a torch in a world that wants to snuff you out. The fight slows, not because it's over, but because the enemy shifts, their fire moving to another target. You slump against a rock, the flamethrower's straps cutting deeper, your breath ragged. The air is thick with ash, the ground littered with spent shells and scorched earth. You survived somehow, but survival feels like a debt you can't pay. Your squad regroups, their faces drawn, their silence a weight heavier than the tank on your back. You check the flamethrower, its nozzle still warm, its hoses slick with residue. The war doesn't care about your shaking hands or the screams you can't unhear. It demands more fire, more steps, more of you. You live for now, because now is a fragile thread, and the flames are always waiting. Looking back, we stand in quiet reverence for those who face such trials, their courage a flicker in the darkness of war. Their lives, brief and brutal, remind us of the cost of survival, the strength it took to carry fire into the jaws of death. In 1943, you're just a shadow in the smoke, a man whose name is already fading, bound to a flamethrower that writes your story in ash. The war doesn't see you as a person, only a spark, but you move forward, because stopping is surrender, and surrender is a fire you can't escape. The battlefield stretches ahead, its hunger endless, and you step into it, one trembling, inevitable step at a time. carrying the flames that could consume you. The battlefield is a churning sea of mud and smoke, its air thick with the acrid bite of gunpowder and fear. You're crouched behind a shattered wall, the M1 flamethrower's 70-pound weight pressing against your spine like a gravestone yet to be carved. The war's roar surrounds you, shells scream, rifles crack, and the ground shudders with each distant explosion. You're mid-mission, tasked with clearing a trench line, when the flamethrower falters. The igniter clicks, but no flame comes, only a weak sputter, a hiss of defiance from the machine you've come to both wield and dread. The valve jams, stubborn as a locked door, and a thin trickle of napalm seeps from the hose, pooling at your feet like a traitor's confession. Your heart lurches, not from the enemy's fire, but from the realization that the weapon you carry is as much your foe as the men in the trenches ahead. You scramble to fix it, hands trembling under the weight of urgency. Bullets zip past, kicking up dirt, each one a reminder that time is a luxury you don't have. The flamethrower's hoses are tangled, the metal warm from the morning's heat, and you fumble with a wrench too small for the task, its edges worn smooth by years of misuse. The valve refuses to budge, its threads stripped, as if the machine itself is conspiring to keep you pinned here, exposed. You're a sitting target, a man with a bomb on his back, and the enemy knows it. Their gunfire stitches the air, closer now, and you duck lower, your breath ragged, the smell of fuel choking your throat. You whisper to the valve, a plea born of desperation, but it's silent, mocking, as if it knows the fire it holds could turn on you first. Your squad is scattered, their shouts drowned by the battlefield's din. You're alone with the flamethrower, its weight a chain that binds you to this moment. You pry at the valve, your fingers slick with sweat and oil, the wrench slipping as a shell bursts nearby, showering you with earth. The napalm's drip grows bolder, a slow, deliberate leak that stains your boots. Each drop a spark waiting for a reason to ignite. You think of the M1's history, cobbled together from old designs, rushed into service for a war that devours men and machines alike. It's no marvel, just a patchwork of steel and malice, built to burn but not to last. A private crawls up beside you, his face pale, and mutters, "Fix it quick, or we're all cooked." His laugh is brittle, a jest that cuts deeper than shrapnel, and you nod, because words are too heavy to carry now. You work faster, the wrench biting into your palm, the metal groaning under pressure. The battlefield doesn't pause. Bullets sing, shells wail, and the air grows thick with the stench of burning wood and flesh. You're exposed, a silhouette against the smoke, and every second feels like a borrowed breath. The flamethrower's hoses are stiff, resisting your efforts, as if they resent being tamed. You recall the training camp, the instructor's warnings about leaks and jams, but they never taught you how to fix a machine under fire, how to keep your hand steady when death is a spark away. You twist the valve, and it gives just enough, but the igniter still refuses to spark. The machine is a traitor, and you're its prisoner, bound to its whims in a war that doesn't care who it burns. The trench line waits, a dark gash in the earth, its occupants hidden but watching. You know they see you, the man with the flamethrower, the one who'll light their world ablaze if you can make this cursed thing work. Your squad needs you. Their rifles are useless against the bunker's concrete, but the flamethrower's betrayal holds you back. You tap the igniter, a futile gesture, and a faint click answers, mocking your hope. The leak grows, napalm pooling beneath you, and you imagine it catching, a fire that would swallow you before you could scream. You're a bomb, a spark, a man whose life hangs on the mercy of a machine that has none. You work in silence, the world's chaos a distant hum, your focus narrowed to the valve, the hose, the traitor you carry. Finally, a shift, a reluctant groan from the valve, a spark from the igniter. You test it, and a weak flame flickers, not the roar you need, but enough to keep going. You patch the leak with tape, a desperate fix that won't hold long, but long enough, you hope. The private watches, his eyes wide, and says, "Good. Now you can burn us all later." His voice is a blade sharp with truth, but you ignore it, because stopping to think means stopping altogether. You hoist the flamethrower, its weight heavier now, and move toward the trench. The napalms slosh a grim rhythm in your ears. The enemy's fire intensifies, as if they sense your return, and you duck, the tank pulling you down. A reminder that survival is a debt you pay with every step. You reach the trench's edge, the flamethrower stuttering but alive, its flame a fragile defiance against the war's hunger. You fire, the blaze cutting through the smoke, and the trench glows, a brief, terrible sunrise. The screams are faint, lost in the fire's roar, and you don't linger on them, because lingering means thinking, and thinking means breaking. You've survived the machine's betrayal for now, but the victory feels hollow, a pause in a war that never stops. The flamethrower is your master, its whims your fate, and you carry it forward, knowing it could turn on you again. You live for now, a vow whispered against the chaos, because now is all you have, a spark in a world ready to ignite. Looking back, we marvel at the resilience of those who face such trials, their courage a flicker in the darkness of war's machinery. Their lives, bound to fickle tools, remind us of the strength it took to endure, to carry fire through a world that offered no mercy. In 1943, you're just a shadow in the smoke, a man whose name is already fading, tethered to a flamethrower that betrays as often as it obeys. The war doesn't care about your trembling hands or the dread that coils in your chest. It demands your flame, your breath, your life. Yet, you move forward, because stopping is surrender, and surrender is a fire you can't outrun. The trench lies ahead, its shadows waiting, and you step into them. One heavy, inevitable step at a time. The war has carved itself into your flesh, a map of scars and aches that no longer feels like yours. The M1 flamethrower, a 70-pound beast of steel and napalm, clings to your back like a vengeful spirit, its weight grinding your bones with every step. The camp's muddy sprawl is your world now, a grey expanse where the air tastes of ash and oil, a bitter reminder of the fire you carry. Your shoulders are raw, the straps cutting deep, leaving welts that weep under your uniform's damp weight. The heat from the flamethrower's bursts lingers on your skin, a constant burn that blisters your forearms, turning them red and tender, as if the fire is already claiming you. You move through the camp, a ghost in your own body, each motion a protest against the pain that has become your shadow. Your hands, once nimble, are now calloused and cracked, the skin splitting from gripping the nozzle through countless drills. The flamethrower's heat seeps through your gloves, leaving faint burns that sting when you flex your fingers. You try to stretch, to ease the ache in your back, but the tank pulls you down, a relentless force that bends your spine into submission. Your legs cramp with every march, muscles knotted from carrying the machine across rutted fields. Sleep offers no relief. You collapse onto a bedroll, the flamethrower beside you like a cruel sentinel, its cold metal pressing against your side. The air is heavy, thick with the stench of fuel and decay, and you breathe it in, each inhale a reminder that cleanliness is a memory, a luxury burned away by the war's demands. Meals are a grim ritual, eaten in the shadow of the flamethrower's bulk. You choke down hardtack and tinned stew, the taste sour with the tang of petroleum that clings to your fingers. Your teeth grind against grit, and you swallow without tasting, your body demanding fuel even as your mind recoils. Your uniform is a second skin, stiff with grime and oil, its seams fraying under the constant strain. You try to wash it once, scrubbing with cold water, but the stains remain, a testament to the war's hold on you. A private watches you struggle, his eyes hollow, and says, "At least you're pre-cooked for the fire." His voice is a blade, sharp with truth, but you force a grimace, because laughter is a weight you can't carry anymore. The camp never rests, its noise a constant hum. Boots slogging, engines growling, voices barking orders that blend into a dull roar. You move through it, your body a machine pushed beyond its limits, each step a negotiation with pain. Your knees lock up, protesting the endless marches, and your shoulders scream with every shift of the flamethrower's weight. The tank's hoses snag on everything, crates, branches, your weary limbs, as if the machine is fighting to stay still, to keep you tethered to this moment. You check its seals, your fingers trembling, knowing a single leak could turn you into a torch. The war has no patience for your exhaustion, no mercy for your broken body. You're a tool, expendable, and the flamethrower is your master, its demands etched in the ache of your bones. Nights are the worst, when the camp's clamor fades and you're left with your thoughts. You lie awake, the flamethrower's bulk a cold companion, its faint hiss echoing in the dark. Your body throbs, a symphony of pain from your blistered skin to your knotted muscles. Dreams, when they come, are fleeting, filled with visions of fire and ash, your body burning before you can wake. You jolt upright, gasping, the air thick with the memory of fuel. You've forgotten what it means to feel whole, to move without wincing, to breathe without tasting oil. Your squad notices, their glances quick and guarded, but they say nothing. They're breaking too, their bodies worn by the war's relentless grind. But you're the one with the flamethrower, the one whose pain is a prelude to fire. The war has reshaped you, not into a soldier, but into a vessel for its hunger. Your body is a ruin, a patchwork of scars and strains, held together by necessity alone. You think of home, of days when your hands were soft, your back unburred, but those memories are distant, like stars hidden by smoke. You don't write letters anymore. There's nothing to say that the war hasn't already burned away. Your squad moves around you, their faces blurred by exhaustion, their voices a low hum of survival. You're not one of them, not fully, not when the flamethrower marks you as something else, a man destined to burn, to be consumed by the fire he wields. You live for now, a vow whispered against the pain, because now is all you have left. The camp's routine is a cruel mirror, reflecting your body's slow collapse. You march, you check the flamethrower, you eat, you try to sleep. Each task a reminder of what you've lost. The war doesn't care about your blistered skin or your aching spine. It demands your fire, your steps, your life. You carry on, because stopping means surrendering to the pain, and pain is a fire you can't outrun. The flamethrower is your burden, its weight a chain, its heat a promise of ruin. You're not fighting for glory or country, but for the next breath, the next moment when your body holds together just long enough to keep moving. The war waits, its jaws open, and you stumble toward it, a broken figure carrying a flame that could end you. Looking back, we stand in quiet awe of those who endured such trials, their bodies a testament to a resilience forged in the crucible of war. Their pain, their scars, remind us of the cost of survival, the strength it took to carry on when every step was a battle. In 1943, you're just a shadow in a fuel-soaked uniform, a man whose name is already fading, bound to a flamethrower that breaks you as surely as it burns. The war doesn't see you as a person, only a spark, but you move forward, because stopping is surrender, and surrender is a fire you can't escape. The battlefield lies ahead, its hunger endless, and you carry your ruined body into it, one heavy, inevitable step at a time. The camp is a grey blur, its edges softened by exhaustion, but your mind burns with a fire no water can douse. The M1 flamethrower, a 70-pound spectre of steel and napalm, rests beside you, its presence a constant weight, not just on your shoulders, but in your thoughts. The air hums with the distant drone of war. Artillery thuds, voices murmur, and the faint hiss of the flamethrower's hoses weaves through it all. A serpent's whisper that never leaves. You're no longer the boy who arrived at camp, full of nervous hope. You're a shadow hollowed by the war's relentless hunger. Your mind is a battlefield now, scorched by visions of flames and screams, each thought a spark that threatens to ignite. You sit in the dusk, staring at the horizon, and wonder if you're still human, or just kindling, waiting for the inevitable blaze. Sleep is a thief, stealing moments, but never granting rest. You lie on a bedroll, the flamethrower's cold bulk pressed against your side, its metal a cruel reminder of the fire it holds. Dreams, when they come, are jagged shards of memory, flames roaring, faces melting, the air thick with the stench of burning. You wake gasping, heart pounding, convinced you're already alight, the smell of napalm clinging to your lungs. The night is quiet, but your mind is not. It replays every burst of flame, every scream you've heard, every moment when the flamethrower's hiss felt like a prophecy. You try to close your eyes, but the darkness is a canvas for fear, painted with sparks and ash. A private nearby stirs, sees your wide eyes and mutters, "Dream of fire. Reality's worse." His words, sharp with bitter truth, cut through the silence, and you nod, because speaking would mean admitting how close you are to breaking. Your squad has grown quiet, their laughter replaced by a heavy stillness. Once, they traded stories of home, of sweethearts and summer nights, but now their voices are rare, clipped, reserved for orders or necessity. You're part of that silence, your words dried up like a riverbed under the war's relentless sun. You communicate in glances, in the tilt of a head, in the shared weight of fear that needs no explanation. The flamethrower marks you as different, a man who carries death in a way they can't fathom. They don't hate you, but they fear you, or perhaps they fear what you represent, a spark that could engulf them all. You feel their distance, a chasm widened by the machine on your back, and it carves a loneliness deeper than the war's trenches. The days are a blur of routine, each task a tether to sanity. You check the flamethrower's seals, your fingers moving by rote, tracing the hoses for cracks, testing the igniter's spark. The motions are mechanical, but your mind is elsewhere, caught in a loop of what-ifs. What if the valve jams? What if a bullet finds the tank? What if the fire turns on you? The questions are a fire of their own, burning through your thoughts, leaving only ash. You eat without tasting, sleep without resting, and move without purpose. The war has stripped you to essentials: breath, fear, survival. You think of home, of clean sheets and quiet mornings, but the memories are faint, like embers fading in the wind. You don't write letters anymore. The words feel like lies, and the truth is too heavy to send. The flamethrower is your constant companion. Its presence a weight in your mind as much as your body. You hear its hiss in the quiet, a sound that weaves through your thoughts like a thread pulling tight. You're haunted by the flames you've unleashed, the screams you've silenced, the faces you'll never unsee. They come to you in the dark, unbidden, and you wonder if they're real, or if your mind is crafting ghosts to fill. The battlefield is a wasteland of churned earth and smoke, its air heavy with the sour reek of cordite and despair. You crouch in a shallow ditch, the M1 flamethrower's 70-pound weight pressing into your back like a stone tied to a drowning man. The war's clamour surrounds you. Shells shriek, rifles snap, and the ground quakes with each distant blast. You've survived another skirmish, your flames having carved a path through an enemy trench. But the victory is a hollow thing, a pause in the chaos that offers no rest. Your hands, raw and trembling, grip the flamethrower's nozzle, its metal warm from recent use, its hoses coiled like a serpent waiting to strike. Then you see it, a sight that stops your breath, not from the war's roar, but from the mirror it holds up to your fate. Another flamethrower operator, a man whose name you never learned, lies sprawled across a ridge, his body unrecognizable. A bullet must have found his tank, for where he stood is now a blackened crater, the earth scorched to glass, the air thick with the stench of charred flesh and molten steel. His flamethrower, or what's left of it, is a twisted husk, its hoses melted into grotesque curls, its tank split open like a fruit burst by heat. Shards of metal glint in the morning light, and a faint wisp of smoke rises, curling like a ghost escaping its cage. You stare, unable to look away, as medics move past, their faces grim, their hands empty of hope. One glances at you, then quickly away, as if your gaze could curse him too. Your stomach churns, not just from the smell, but from the truth it carries. That could be you, reduced to ash in a heartbeat. Your squad huddles nearby, their silence heavier than the flamethrower's weight. They avoid the crater, their boots skirting its edges, their eyes fixed on anything but you. You're the walking reminder of what waits, a man marked by the fire he wields. The private next to you shifts, his rifle clutched tight, and mutters, "He lit up the battlefield, one last time." His voice is low, a jest born of fear, but it cuts, a blade of truth wrapped in grim humor. You don't respond, because words would mean acknowledging the shadow that now clings to you, darker than the smoke. You check your tank, fingers tracing the seams, searching for cracks, for leaks, for the betrayal you know is coming. The napalm sloshes within, a liquid promise of ruin, and you wonder how long until your spark finds you. The war doesn't pause for your thoughts. Orders crackle through the radio, urging you to move, to prepare for the next push. You hoist the flamethrower, its straps biting deeper into your shoulders, and step forward, the crater's image burned into your mind. The ground is uneven, littered with debris, shell casings, shattered wood, a single boot standing upright, its owner gone. You don't look too closely, because looking means seeing, and seeing means remembering. The air is thick, a soup of ash and fear, and you breathe it in, each inhale a reminder that you're still here, for now. Your squad follows, their steps heavy, their faces drawn. They don't speak of the man in the crater, but his absence is a weight, a ghost that walks with you, whispering of the fire that waits. You move toward the next objective, a line of bunkers hidden in the haze. The flamethrower's weight is unbearable now, not just its steel, but the knowledge it carries. You've seen what it can do, not to the enemy, but to the man who wields it. The memory of the crater lingers, a vision of twisted metal and ash, a future you can't unsee. Your hands shake as you adjust the nozzle. The igniters click, a small defiance against the fear that coils in your chest. The war is a machine, and you're its fuel, a spark destined to burn out. You think of the men who've gone before, their names lost to the flames, their stories reduced to scorched earth. You're not different, not special, just another man carrying fire, waiting for the moment it turns on you. The battlefield stretches ahead, a canvas of ruin painted in shades of grey and black. You pass another wreck, not a flamethrower, but a jeep, its frame twisted by a shell, its driver gone. The sight is a reminder that death doesn't discriminate, but for you, it feels personal, as if the war has your name written in napalm. Your squad's silence is a wall, their eyes avoiding yours, as if looking too long might pull them into your fate. You don't blame them. The flamethrower marks you, sets you apart, a man destined to burn brighter than the rest. You live for now, a vow whispered against the chaos, because now is all you have, a fragile moment before the fire claims you. The war's rhythm is relentless, a drumbeat of orders and movement. You check the flamethrower again, your fingers moving by rote, searching for the leak that could end you. The hoses are stiff, the tank heavy, but you carry on, because stopping is surrender, and surrender is a fire you can't outrun. You think of home, of quiet nights and clean air, but the memories are faint, like smoke drifting from a dying ember. The war has taken them, just as it's taken your strength, your hope, your name. You're a shadow now, a man bound to a flamethrower, carrying death that could turn on you at any moment. The battlefield waits, its hunger endless, and you step into it, one trembling, inevitable step at a time. Looking back, we stand in quiet awe of those who face such horrors, their resilience a testament to the human spirit's stubborn will to endure. Their lives, brief and brutal, remind us of the cost of survival, the courage it took to face death's shadow every day. In 1943, you're just a figure in the smoke, a man whose name is already fading, bound to a flamethrower that writes your story in ash. The war doesn't care about your fear or the crater that haunts you. It demands your flame, your breath, your life. Yet, you move forward, because stopping is surrender, and surrender is a fire you can't escape. The battlefield stretches ahead, its shadows deepening, and you carry your fire into them, knowing death's shadow walks with you. The sky is a bruise, heavy with clouds that choke the dawn. As you advance toward a concrete bunker, its dark slits glaring like eyes in the gloom. The M1 flamethrower, a 70-pound relic of steel and napalm, clings to your back, its weight a prophecy etched in pain. The battlefield is a cacophony of ruin. Shells wail, rifles stutter, and the earth trembles beneath your boots, each step sinking into mud that smells of decay and despair. Orders came in a hurried whisper. Clear the bunker, burn it out, no matter the cost. You're the spearhead, the fire that leads, and the realization is a cold blade in your chest. This is where your story ends. The flamethrower's hoses twist around you, heavy with intent, and the air is thick with the promise of violence, a prelude to the inferno that waits. You move forward. The tanks slosh a grim rhythm against your spine. Your squad trails behind, their forms blurred in the smoke, their silence a weight heavier than the napalm you carry. The bunker looms closer, its concrete walls unyielding, a fortress built to defy your flames. You grip the nozzle, fingers slick with sweat, and ignite the flamethrower, its roar splitting the morning like a wound. The fire surges, a torrent of orange and heat that claws at the bunker's slits, consuming the shadows within. Screams rise, sharp and desperate, then fade into the crackle of burning wood and flesh. The heat is a beast, wrapping around you, searing your face through the mask, and you flinch, but there's no turning back. You're a torch in the darkness, and the enemy sees you, their guns turning to meet your flame. Their fire finds you swiftly, a storm of bullets that stitches the air. You're a beacon, the flamethrowers blaze marking you as the war's chosen sacrifice. A round grazes the tank, a dull thud that sends a shiver through your bones. You feel it before you hear it, a slow, wet drip, napalm leaking from a punctured seal, trickling down your back like a traitor's tears. You fire again, the flame weaker now, stuttering as the tank falters. The bunker glows, its interior a furnace, but the cost is rising, and you're the currency. Your squad shouts, their voices lost in the chaos, urging you to move, to retreat. But the fire has its own will, and you're its vessel. You step closer, the heat unbearable, the air thinning. And you know this is no victory, only a delay. Then it happens. A spark, faint but fatal, catches the leaking napalm. The flame is small at first, a whisper of heat on your shoulder, but it grows, hungry, climbing your back with a slow, deliberate malice. You drop the nozzle. The flamethrower's roar silenced, but the fire on you speaks louder, a roar that drowns out the battlefield. Pain is a white-hot wave, searing through your uniform, your skin, your breath. You stumble, boots catching in the mud, and fall to your knees, the tank pulling you down like an anchor. The flames spread, a living thing that feeds on you, and you scream, a sound swallowed by the inferno. Your squad is too far, their faces blurred in the smoke, their hands useless against the fire that claims you. You think fleetingly, at least I warmed the place, a bitter jest that fades as quickly as your breath. The world narrows to heat and light, the air stolen by the flames. Your lungs burn, gasping for oxygen that no longer exists, and the pain shifts from sharp to dull, a heavy weight that presses you into the earth. The bunker is silent now, its defenders gone, but the victory is not yours. The flamethrower, your companion, your curse, has turned on you, its fire rewriting your story in ash. You see flashes of home, a porch under starlight, a laugh shared over warm bread, but they dissolve, consumed by the blaze. Your hands claw at the mud, seeking something solid, something real, but the fire is all there is, a relentless tide that pulls you under. You live for now, but now is a spark, a moment, a breath that's already slipping away. The flames climb higher, their roar a deafening hymn, and you feel your body surrender, piece by piece. The war fades, its noise a distant hum, as the fire becomes your world, your end. You're no longer a man, just a silhouette in the blaze, a shadow burned into the earth. Your squad watches helpless, their faces etched with horror, but they can't reach you, not now, not ever. The flamethrower, once your weapon, is now your pyre, its napalm the ink that writes your final chapter. You don't hear the screams anymore, not theirs, not yours. The world is fire, and then it's nothing, a darkness that swallows you whole, leaving only ash and silence in its wake. The war moves on, indifferent, its hunger endless. Your squad will regroup, their steps heavy with the weight of your absence, but they won't speak of you, not because they don't care, but because speaking makes it real. The bunker stands, blackened and empty, a monument to your fire, but no one will know your name. You are a spark, a flame, a man who carried death until it claimed him. The war doesn't pause, doesn't mourn. It demands more bodies, more fire, more sacrifices. You lived for now, and now is gone. A fleeting moment lost in the inferno's embrace. Looking back, we stand in quiet reverence for those who face such fates, their courage a flicker in the darkness of war's cruelty. Their lives, brief and brutal, remind us of the cost of survival, the strength it took to carry fire into the unknown. In 1943, you're just a shadow in the flames, a man whose name is already fading, bound to a flamethrower that wrote your story in ash. The war didn't care about your dreams or your fear. It demanded your flame, your breath, your life. Yet you burned, because stopping was surrender, and surrender was a fire you couldn't escape. The battlefield lies silent now, its hunger sated, and your ashes settle, a testament to a courage that burned brighter than the flames that took you. The battlefield lies silent now, a scarred expanse where the echoes of war have faded into a heavy, mournful hush. You're gone, consumed by the fire you wielded, the M1 flamethrower's napalm turning your body to ash in a final, merciless embrace. The bunker you were sent to clear stands blackened, its concrete walls etched with the fury of your flames, but no one will carve your name beside it. The air is thick with the acrid residue of smoke and ruin, a bitter shroud that settles over the crater where you fell. Your squad, those who survived, move past, their boots crunching on scorched earth, their eyes fixed on the horizon to avoid the truth of your absence. The flamethrower, or what remains of it, lies twisted in the mud, a relic of your sacrifice, its hoses limp, its tank empty, like a heart that stopped beating. No medic comes, no hand reaches to pull you from the wreckage. The flames were too fierce, the heat too absolute, leaving only fragments, charred bone, melted steel, a dog tag fused to the earth. The war doesn't pause for you. It churns forward, a relentless machine that devours names and spits out numbers. Your squad regroups, their faces hollow, their silence a wound deeper than any bullet. They don't speak of you, not because they've forgotten, but because words would make your absence real, a weight they can't carry. A private glances at the crater, his jaw tight, and mutters, "Good thing paper doesn't burn." His voice is a blade, sharp with the irony of a war that buries its dead in brief reports, and you're already slipping from memory, a spark snuffed out in the dawn's grey light. The official report is a cold thing, typed on a machine that clatters like bones. Your name, your serial number, killed in action. A sterile summary that holds no trace of the fire that took you, the screams that filled your final moments, or the way the napalm turned your body to shadow. The clerk who writes it doesn't linger, his fingers moving to the next name, the next number. Your flamethrower, if it's salvageable, is pried from the wreckage, cleaned, and handed to another man, another soul who'll carry its curse. He'll step into your boots, unaware of the ashes that linger, the story that ended where his begins. The war doesn't mourn, it recycles, its hunger endless, its memory short. You were a tool, expendable, and the battlefield has already swallowed your trace. Your squad moves on, their steps heavy with the weight of survival. They don't look back, not out of callousness, but because looking means seeing, and seeing means carrying you with them. The bunker stands as a monument, not to you, but to the fire that claimed you, its walls a silent witness to a sacrifice no one will name. The air grows still, the smoke settling like a veil, and the world feels emptier, as if your absence has carved a hole in the dawn. You think, in those final moments, of home, of a porch under starlight, a laugh shared over a warm meal, but those memories burned with you, lost in the fire's embrace. The war doesn't care about your dreams or the life you left. It demands only your flame, and you gave it because there was no other choice. The recruit who takes your place is young, his eyes still bright with the illusion of purpose. He straps on the flamethrower, its weight unfamiliar, its hiss a mystery he hasn't yet learned to fear. He doesn't know your story, doesn't know the crater where you fell, the way the flames wrote your end in ash. The war rolls forward, a tide that erases as it moves, and your name is lost, a whisper drowned by the clamour of new battles. Your squad carries pieces of you, fragments of a joke, a glance, a moment when you shared a cigarette, but those pieces fade, reshaped by time until they belong to someone else. You're not a ghost, not a memory, just a void where a man once stood, a spark that burned too briefly to be remembered. The battlefield is a graveyard of forgotten names, its earth marked by craters and scars that tell no stories. You were one of many, a flamethrower operator whose life was measured in seconds in the fleeting roar of napalm. The war promised glory, but delivered only fire, and you paid its price. Your dog tag, if they find it, is a relic, a piece of metal that holds no weight against the machine that moves on. The flamethrower, your companion, your betrayer, is handed to another, its steel polished to erase your trace. You lived for now, a vow whispered against the chaos, but now is gone, and the war doesn't look back. The bunker stands, silent, and the dawn breaks, indifferent to the ashes it leaves behind. The war's rhythm is relentless, a drumbeat that drowns out the past. New orders come, new men step forward, and the cycle begins again. The flamethrower's hiss will sound anew, its flames carving paths through other bunkers, other lives. You're not part of that story anymore, not a name, not a face, just a shadow burned into the earth. The war doesn't care about your courage or your fear. It demands only bodies, and yours was one of many. Yet, in the quiet of history, your sacrifice lingers, a testament to the men who carried fire into the dark, knowing it might consume them. You were no hero, no legend, just a man who burned for a moment, and then was gone, forgotten in flames. Looking back, we stand in quiet reverence for those who face such fates. Their lives a flicker in the darkness of war's cruelty. Their courage, born of necessity, reminds us of the cost of survival, the strength it took to face a fire that offered no mercy. In 1943, you're just a silhouette in the smoke, a man whose name is lost to the war's ledger, bound to a flamethrower that wrote your story in ash. The war didn't see you as a person, only a spark, but you burned, because stopping was surrender, and surrender was a fire you couldn't escape. The battlefield lies silent now, its hunger sated, and your ashes settle, a testament to a courage that burned brighter than the flames that took you. As the embers fade and the battlefield's roar softens to a whisper, we've walked through the fire of a flamethrower operator's life, where courage met despair in a dance of ash and flame. Let your shoulders ease, your breath slow, and sink into the quiet, where the war's weight lifts like mist at dawn. If your eyes still linger in the dark, share your thoughts below. Where are you, and what hour holds you? Let this tale of WWII's forgotten sparks settle in your heart, a reminder of resilience in the face of fire. Tomorrow night, another story waits, a gentle thread to weave through your dreams. For now, close your eyes, let the flames fade, and drift into sleep's embrace. Good night, weary traveller, until the next tale calls.